This week we're on this 2000 Buick LeSabre, and we're going to be going over the exhaust gas recirculation system on this car. And in this Buick, it is an electronic solenoid controlled, and it is this right here. So here on All Data, I have the description of operation pulled up for the EGR valve on this Buick, and it explains that it's a linear EGR valve, and that for it to activate under the following conditions, it needs warm engine operation, operating temperature, and above idle speed. And for some reason, we've ran this Buick for about 15 minutes, and it is at operating temperature. And our EGR position is still at 0, even with giving it some throttle. So here in a second, we're going to manually command it, and we're going to see how that affects how the engine runs. So here you can see the EGR is still at 0, but when we press the plus sign, we're manually commanding it, and this EGR valve is actually only showing the PCM, a percentage of how open it is. It's not measuring the actual flow of the exhaust gases. So as you can see, when I turn this all the way up, the engine does not like it, and it's running pretty rough at idle because the EGR usually doesn't open at idle. And then you can see it runs way better when the timer cuts out.
Okay, so now we're tapped into the Pinto signal wire. Just normally we've got 0.89 volts, and then Gabe's gonna turn it on, and we'll see how the voltage goes up. So now we're at 40%, and we're at 2.7 volts, up to 50%. 60%, 70%, and now it turned off.
So here we have the schematic for the EGR up, and you can see the power and the ground for the valve control are both driven by the PCM. So what we're attempting to do here in a second, we're pinned into those circuits, and we're going to see if we can provide constant power and ground to that valve control. And we'll see on this scan tool, we should see at least a 50% opening of that EGR when Zach connects that to power. And we didn't see a change, so that test was not successful. Something is preventing us from being able to do that. So we're gonna take a look at that and see if we can update you guys in a second. So we found the issue. Those little jumper wires that we were using, we think that they were dropping all the voltage, and before the EGR could drop the voltage. And so what we have now, we have a bigger wire hooked up, and we're gonna hook it to ground and power. And we're gonna see how this PID changes. And you can see the engine didn't like that at all. What he just did by doing that, we overrided the PCM drivers, and we're providing power and ground to the EGR all the time. So you can see it runs super rich with the EGR at 100%. And yeah, it's just really cool to see how we were able to do that. So today, on Thursday, we're working on my car. I have a blue smoke on startup, and so I was going to see if my PCV valve was working properly. And you can see this is what it looks like. It's a variable type. On the engine, it's located right here on the valve cover, and I already took it out. It's right there. One of the procedures to test this PCV valve is to blow into each side of the PCV valve, and it says blow air into the cylinder head side, and it should pass through easily. It should be easy to blow air through that. And I did verify that that is the case with this PCV valve, and it says to blow air into the intake manifold side, and it should be hard to blow air through that, and that is also I tested that, and it is hard to blow air through the manifold side. So this PCV valve checks out. We're going to see if we have any more tests to do on the PCV system, but we'll update you in here in a second.
So now Gabe's gonna start it. We have the PCV disconnected. And as you can see, it doesn't really like it too much.